Well, we've rounded up more and we're back. It's the Western Sports Roundup on Rural Radio on Sirius XM.
Welcome back to Western Sports Roundup. I'm Steve Kenyon along with Amy Wilson. And we've got a chance to talk to a guy, Amy, that both of us have had a chance to get to know a little bit over the last couple of years. I got to introduce him last year at the American semifinals during, I think, the final performance of the semifinals. We had him standing up, remember, on stage up on the top of the bucking chutes, and you had a chance actually to go to his hometown or to his Make-A-Wish child's hometown and make a special presentation, right, last year?
Yeah, so Brantley is where we went and presented a saddle, and we had Jimmy on FaceTime so he could watch it and be a part of it. And then, of course, I saw him at the qualifier in Ohio, too. So get to see him every now and then at the big barrel races, but I'm always so impressed with what he does and how he gives back to these precious kids.
And he's involved with the Make-A-Wish program again, I understand. Barrel racer Jimmy Bryant joins us on Western Sports Roundup. Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good, real good. You've qualified for the American semifinals. I'm doing this from memory, so tell me if I'm wrong. Twice, right? Or is it three times?
Twice, yes.
Twice?
2 or 3
last
times,
year,
I can't remember.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Last year, you got involved with this little guy last year in the Make-A-Wish program, and you just captured everybody's heart in the process. Kind of take us back through that story real quick, Jimmy.
Well, it's a little boy that had leukemia, Brantley from Bloomington, Indiana, and I wanted to do something to wear tie-dye and to kind of help Make-A-Wish. So we kind of got a hold of Make-A-Wish real quick and got everything set up, and we raised $16,000. Yeah. One was from Seymour, Indiana, a little girl. Then Brantley was from Bloomington, and everything kind of took off from there. And he kind of flew out with me to the semifinals and made his dream come true. And then this year, with the money I raised, he got to go to the NFR this year, and he had a really, really great time.
Oh, that is awesome. I didn't know that part of the story. How good does that make you feel?
Oh, it makes you, to help some little kid like that, it just warms your heart. It just makes me feel really good.
I remember that semifinals performance last year, and Randy Schmutz and I were announcing the rodeo, and we're going through, we'd switch back and forth as we introduced the special contestants up on the platform on the top of the bucking chutes before the performance, and I got you. And it wasn't anything I planned. It's just that's the way it worked. And
right.
I seem to remember you got a standing ovation, and Brantley was the guy that was leading the standing ovation in the process out of all that. It was just a great story, Jimmy, and you're doing it again this year, right?
Yeah, I'm not actually doing it for Make-A-Wish this year. It's actually just a family that had a really good friend in Kentucky that had a daughter come down 14 months old with cancer, and she's got to have radiation or chemo, I should say, chemo a lot for, I think, a year. And her name is Stella, and I'm just trying to help the family out. They're going through a very, very rough time right now.
Will there be an opportunity through Facebook, social media, whatever, through your endeavors at the American semifinals to maybe help to raise a few bucks for him in the process?
Yes, I'm trying to get it out there a little more. It's you can go to jimmybryant.com, and there's a GoFundMe page directly to Stella. Every 100% goes to their family. And my goal is to try to raise $25,000 before the semifinals.
JimmyBryant.com?
Yes.
Awesome. Jimmy, tell me kind of your story about, I'm going to hold you over. We're about to get to a break, and I'm going to hold you over if you got a few minutes. But I always want to say that. Awesome. I always want to say that you were driving a truck and training barrel racing horses, and then the American happened. Is that kind of true?
Yes, that is true. I was driving a truck, kind of wanted to see I've done a lot of good things in barrel racing around here, and kind of never really stepped up to the big show. Then I had a horse that was kind of pretty good, and I tried it and made it. Then we did good out there, and everything else was kind of history.
Yeah. Jimmy Bryant's joining us. You are from Indiana, right?
Yes, Columbus, Indiana.
How come barrel racing horses?
My dad was in it, and I started barrel racing when I was 2 years old.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And I love the thrill to go down through the gate. It's just amazing when you drop through the gate and feel the excitement.
Yeah. Jimmy, for those of you who don't remember, Jimmy is the guy last year. I think I may have said one night during the rodeo performance that you raided Fallon Taylor's closet because you were the guy wearing the tie-dye with all the Make-A-Wish stuff on it. But made it all the way to AT&T last year and had a chance at the $1 million. What was that like, Jimmy?
It was very exciting. A lot of people flew down and drove down. My family and everybody drove down and watched me. It was very, very excitement.
Let's face it, for a guy to be able to compete in a rodeo performance is a little bit different.
Very. I mean, them girls were tough. No question about it. They're out there for one thing, and you kind of got to step up to the plate for a guy.
Yeah. There you go, Amy. You're tough.
Oh, I don't think he was talking about me, but yeah, it is a lot of fun, and I enjoy every time I get to go. You know, going out west this summer to the pro rodeos and stuff, I really feel like it does help you step up your game because you know that they're all out there to win first, too. So It makes it a lot of fun, and I've heard from other guys, too, that it's an experience that they don't typically get. So the American is definitely unique in that sense.
I was just cruising around Facebook, and I bumped into a post, obviously, from our guest right before, or oddly enough, from our guest right before Jimmy, Danielle Campbell. And she pointed out, Jimmy Bryant may be my new barrel racing hero, and how cool is it to have 3 men going to Dallas Sunday in the barrel race? I'd forgotten there were 3 guys that made it through last year, Jimmy.
Yeah, Brandon Collin, and I can't remember the
Chris Martin.
Chris Martin.
Yeah.
Yep, Chris Martin. Yep, they're both of them really great guys, too.
So are you on the same horse this year? What are you doing as far as horses are concerned?
Yeah, it's the same horse, a little bit of cowboy. He's kind of a special horse to everybody kind of up in the Indiana and Ohio area. The owners of him are great people.
Tell me about him. Tell me about his ownership, and tell me why he's kind of a special horse to so many.
Well, why I actually got to ride him is the owner was having a baby, and she said, "Why don't you take him ride him?" And she won a lot on him too. But when I stepped foot on him first time, I'm like, "Wow, this is an incredible horse." He just he's very willing to do it, and he wants to win. He is just as bad as me, you know. And he's you know, when he's on his game, when he turns around and bites your foot, it's like he's ready. You know what's getting ready to happen.
I'm sorry, I thought you just said when he turns around and bites your foot, you know he's ready.
Yeah, he'll bite your left foot every time. He's got his little quirks, but he's a good horse and no bad habits or nothing. He's just a great horse.
Have you ever thought of
teaching? He ain't very big. He's only 14'1", but you think you're on a 16-hands horse when you drop him through the gate.
You know, it's funny when you mention that because I was just thinking, I don't think Jimmy's about my height, a lot skinnier than I am, but about my height. And I remember thinking that's not a real big horse, but he rides bigger than he looks, huh?
Yeah, he blows up like I said, like a 16-hand horse when you drop him through the gate. And there's a lot of times on the first barrel, if you really watch, my foot actually hits the dirt.
Really?
And I'll have to curl my leg up under his belly.
Amy, you may have to teach Flapper how to bite your left foot before you start the run.
That's definitely a unique little quirk about him, but he proves every time that he's ready to run. He always gives 110%, so it's fun to watch those two.
Jimmy, if I'm making too much out of this, please stop me. But I remember the first time I interviewed you, it was at the American semifinals a couple of years ago. We got to talking about this a little bit and about your background because, I really didn't know anything about you at the time. We'd never met before you came up. I was right in the middle of doing the radio broadcast, and here comes Jimmy Bryant, and you didn't know me, and we had a chance to visit just for a second. But I've always kind of had the impression, we talk about this whole American experience and the chance to maybe go to AT&T and win $1 million or win $100,000 or do what Haley Kinsel did last year.
Right.
Sage Kimsey and Cody DeMoss. I've always kind of had the impression that, to a certain extent, this helped not so much because of the money, but because of the opportunities and the publicity it created to develop your career from that standpoint. Am I right at all in saying that?
Yeah, it did. It very well did, and I couldn't do it without a lot of friends and help. Nobody can. And the money is not. It's nice to have the money, but if I win it, the owner of the horse gets the money. That's how I am. I mean, she can have it all. I just want the opportunity to run in big barrel races like that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amy.
I just think it's such a great opportunity, and getting to meet with Brantley and take him that saddle and to be able to see and experience firsthand, what Jimmy started as far as making a difference and it not being about him at all, I think is really special, and you don't come by that all the time, so that makes this story even better.
Tell me about the young person you're working with again this year. In case folks missed it in the first segment, there's you're not going through Make-A-Wish. You're kind of independently in doing this year, but you're trying to raise some money to help a very special family out.
Yeah, she's Stella, 14 months old. She's got cancer, and she's having it pretty rough right now. They gave her a real high dose of chemotherapy, and I think 2 weeks ago, and she's having it pretty rough. And her mom had to go back to work, is what I was told. And I just thought, well, I'm going to help this family because they're going through a bad time. I couldn't even imagine what they're going through right now.
As a parent, thinking about a 14-month-old going through that, it just makes me shiver.
Yeah. It's really, really, really rough. And everybody, their friends, is helping them a lot. But I thought, I'm going to try to step up the plate and raise them some money and to help them out and get back forth from the hospital and do what I can.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, I sure appreciate it. We'll have the opportunity to remind everybody of that story a lot between now and then, and keep Amy and I in the loop, would you, as to how things are going and what folks can do to help and all that.
I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Hey, what's it like running we've got a minute to go. What's it like running a horse training business? How many horses you got at any one time? How many people does it take to just kind of give folks the insight?
It takes a lot of people to help you and get where you need to go and all that. Like a couple of days ago, I went from Indiana. I'm down here in Texas now, and it just takes a lot of people to help you on the road and where you stop and lay over. But it's fun. It's great to get the opportunity to do it.
Yep, I believe it. Jimmy Bryant, I hope you have a great time again this year at the American semifinals, and I hope you make it back through to AT&T and have a chance to entertain the fans there as well.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. That's barrel racer Jimmy Bryant. He is, Amy, he's kind of become a fan favorite at the semifinals, I think.
Yeah, for good reason. I mean, we see a lot of this in Western sports as far as people helping others out. But as you and I both know, with the competitive nature and the way rodeo is, people are going for first and they want to win at all costs. And then you see someone come along that just really wants to help others out and is enjoying every moment of the opportunity because he sees, little kids like this that have, the issues that they do and struggling along. And so just really appreciates the opportunity and wants to help them out. And I think it's really special and people have recognized that. So I'm glad that he has the fan base that he does now.
Yeah, I do too. We'll keep you in touch with Jimmy's story as time goes by. You can find Jimmy. Just Google Jimmy Bryant Performance Horses. You can find him on Facebook, or you can find his website. We'll take a time.